There was a rumor that Nas was supposed to come to a recording session for the song Bring It On, but didn't show up.
That's somewhat true. AZ was supposed to come.
Kayambo Joshua, better known as Hip Hop, was around Roc-A-Fella during its early development. He is the younger brother of Roc-A-Fella co-founder Kareem Biggs Burke. In Vlad's interview, he describes being around Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Biggs while they were building the company and preparing Reasonable Doubt.
Your older brother is Kareem Biggs Burke.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you guys have different last names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So different fathers?
Same father.
Same father, different mothers.
Yep.
Okay. Did you guys grow up together or separately?
We grew up in the same area, but not in the same household.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you guys close?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. We became close. Like, I didn't know him when I was very young.
Sounds similar to my brother now. He's not here today. Shout out Haro, y'all.
And probably I knew I had brothers, but I didn't really. I might have seen them a couple times here and there.
That's how it be sometimes.
But by the time I got to like junior high school, around that time, I started to really see him in the neighborhood and hang out with him and my other brother Bob and stuff. So those all kind of came through.
What was the age difference between you two?
I believe it's 4 or 5 years. Because my first year in high school, we like a class. Like, he's graduated when I entered high school. So that's like 4 to 5 years.
Okay. So your brother started hustling at one point, allegedly.
Yeah, all of my brothers was out there doing what they was doing.
There you go, Vlad. There you go, yo. You ain't gotta do that. Come on, Vlad.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you follow?
When I met him, he was playing basketball. When I first met him and stuff, I used to go to his games and stuff, and he'll tell me, come to the locker room. I go to the locker room. He'll give me $20 and tell me, take a cab home. You know what I mean? So, but by the time I graduated high school, Roc-A-Fella was starting.
Okay.
So I never really did anything.
So you never got in the streets at all? Nothing?
Good.
Never. Nope.
Good.
Okay.
He escaped, Vlad. Now, you wanted to hear some crime story? You're not getting one today.
So Dame Dash and Biggs and Jay all knew each other.
Yes. Dame and my older brother, rest in peace, Bob, was close friends. They was in a crew together, the Best Out. Biggs was a part of that crew as well, but he was younger. And Dame introduced Biggs to Jay on the street side. And that kind of started their relationship.
Okay. So they have Jay as an artist, and they're trying to get a deal, but nobody wants to give Jay-Z a deal.
Yeah, because I remember clear as day, Biggs came to one of my games. And, you know, we talked about Jay before. I remember the first time I asked him if he heard In My Lifetime. He was like, yeah, that's my boy. And I was like, oh, wow, you know him? And he was like, yeah, he's cool with Dame. And
he still look happy to this day. That's crazy.
You know, we kind of just, not left it there, but we were just talking about music. And then another day, he mentioned that I'm going to start a label. We starting a label, me, Dame, and Jay, starting a label. Because I met Dame separately. I didn't meet Dame through Biggs. Like, I met Dame through Cameron.
Okay.
Yeah, I met Dame through Cameron. Just being, I grew up with Cameron, more or less, than that's my age. That's like who I played against in high school. That's who I knew since I was like 9 years old or something like that. So I knew once he got into rapping, I started to hang around him more because I was into hip hop. And then, you know, we'd go to Dame house every now and then. And then I eventually told Dame, you know, my brother. And he's like, and then that's how we kind of connected. Because I told him my brother was Biggs and Bob, basically. And he was like, oh, for real? And then, because when Cam bought me the...
Crazy. The beginnings. There was no Roc-A-Fella. That's what I always think about when I see somebody who's created something great, a group of people who came together, even like these guys, in a mastermind plot. This was an idea. Even this channel, thoughts are things. This was a simple idea, a seed, a baby, little tiny seed that grew into, the rock.
House, he brought me there because I used to always have music. I always had new stuff. And I remember the first time he brought me there, he was like, yo, my boy got Get Money Remix. You never heard that before. And I played it for Dame, and he called Jay on the phone. He was like, yo, you heard this? And Jay was like, yeah, Clark played it for me. And, but I was like that guy who taped off the radio, taped Stretch Armstrong. So I always had new music, and I was just like really, really into hip hop at that early age.
He had his finger on the pulse
and stuff.
Okay, so when they formed Roc-A-Fella, you were like 16?
Yeah. Yep.
So they formed Roc-A-Fella. I think I Can't Get With That came out around that time.
Yeah, I Can't Get With That. That came out around that time for sure.
Right.
Yep.
That was like the early single. Didn't really catch on.
It didn't catch on, yeah. It was actually on the B-side of In My Lifetime, the first one.
Right.
I don't know that. Of course I know In My Lifetime, but I don't know that one. I can't go for that.
Which was a cool New York street record, but once again, it didn't really catch on.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So they decided to start Rocafella Records with the three of them as partners.
Yeah.
Jay, Dame, and Biggs.
Yeah.
And they get a deal with Priority for distribution?
Yep. At first it was Payday. They released the single through Payday, In My Lifetime. And then by that time, that didn't work out. They was paying for their own videos. And it was I think it was a single deal.
That's when they used to have that weak ass explosion. Y'all ever see that? I forgot what video it was. One of the old school Rocafella videos. It was like an explosion. It was terrible, yo.
So I remember it was a guy named Ray who was working the record, but he had connections with Freeze Records. Freeze Records had a deal with Priority. So they exercised the deal to do Rocafella Records through Freeze, through Priority.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of went through there. And Freeze was actually the old Sleeping Bag Records and Fresh Records.
Right.
So they was always close with Brian Turner. Those guys was a part of a indie label, kind of like Click. So Will Sokoloff was his name. So Will Sokoloff basically took on Reasonable Doubt, and he wasn't really doing albums no more. He was strictly into vinyl. To this day, he still presses up vinyl. He was he kind of went to the single route. He sold Sleeping Bags to Def Jam. That's how Def Jam ended up getting EPMD and Nice and Smooth, was because they bought his label.
Yo, he giving up all kind of inside baseball.
And he turned it into Freeze and just started doing more house records and singles and stuff like that. And Ray knew him, so he kind of connected that. And then it kind of went from there, where it was okay, now we with Priority, but we're through Freeze, but they was just more of the connection. They wasn't actually involved in anything, any decisions or anything like that. We just went straight to Priority. I remember coming out here in '96 and going to Priority when they was in the CNN building.
Okay, so once the deal with Priority is established, then Jay starts working on his first album, Reasonable Doubt.
He was always working on it, to be honest. Before the deal with Priority, I remember Biggs playing me songs. Playing me he would, one day he had J Carr, and he would just play me songs, or I go to Dame house and it'd be tapes just down there of just Jay stuff, and I would just be listening to it. Or if I see Dame, I'd be like, yo, can I hear some new Jay? And he'd be like, yo, where you going? I tell him where I'm going. He said, get in the car, and he'd start playing it. He'll play Feeling It, Cam, Coming of Age, Politics, Politics.
Right.
The only new songs I believe after they got the deal was, I want to say, Ain't No, Can I Live, Brooklyn Finest. Those was like the later records. Bring It On, the Premier records. Those were some of the later records. The Ski and the Clark Kent records was more or less older records that he had. Like I remember him switching the years of the record, like from 95 to 96. Like 95 and forever, 96 and forever. You know what I mean? Like I remember the songs actually getting updated and stuff like that, because out of the batch of records he had, the ones that he knew he was keeping, you know, like the Feeling It and Politics and those type of records was records that he was going to put on his first album when they eventually did it. So once the priority thing came, because they didn't really get no money from them, it didn't really change anything. They were still taking care of stuff themselves. So it was just still, it wasn't like anything went into like high gear. But I guess after the single Dead Presidents and Ain't No, that's when things kicked into, I feel, high gear. They had The Office and everything. And that's when that's kind of like when
that's when Foxy Brown was a tender. I ain't even gonna say the age.
Officially started. Like I before then it was just out of Dame house, his apartment, and they're releasing records, doing shows. But by the time I remember, like I was still in school and Biggs gave me an address to come to after school. And I went there, and it was 17 John Street, and I don't believe it was no furniture in there, but it was like 12 guys in one office, like Tata, B-High, Jay, Dame, Biggs.
Trying to get it.
And a couple guys from Uptown, the guy Ray I mentioned, my boy Garnett, rest in peace, he was in there. And the meeting was to pick a single. And it was Politics, Dead Presidents, and another record. And they played the 3 records, and people was just basically voting. Like, which one should we go with? And I remember Ray was like the radio guy. He was the promotions. He was working for like an indie promoter. I think he was working for Penalty at the time. And he was like, yo, let's...
I'm stunned. I'm just watching this shit with y'all. I'm sorry, man. I'm very interested. What do you want?
The one with the Nas sample. That'll work at radio. You know what I mean?
Plus Nas was killing it at that time. Illmatic was out, or it was just blowing over. It was just over the hill.
You know, because we wasn't thinking of radio on the sense of, and nationally, we was thinking of locally, like college radio and stuff like that. Coincidentally, that's what I started it. I started college radio. That's when I first came in. I worked with Ray, and I was basically calling colleges, sending out records, working Dead Presidents / Ain't No at college radio.
Okay, so once the deal came together and then the other records came, so the Ain't No record, that's from the Nutty Professor soundtrack.
I like how everybody is conveniently in mixed company editing the name of that song.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal.
Yeah,
to be on a major, Eddie Murphy movie soundtrack.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And there's a music video
it was
to go along with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Foxy Brown is on it. Was she like
Foxy
15 or
Brown
16 at the time?
Nah, I think she was older because she was probably like 17, 18 because me and her.
That's right. Try to clean it up, Big. Try to clean it up, hip hop.
Same age.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Jay's first hit record at the time?
Nah, I think she was older because she was probably like 17, 18 because me and her like same age.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Jay's first hit record?
Yeah.
The Ain't No record?
Yeah, the Ain't No record was the first one that definitely took off.
Okay.
Which was coincidence because it was on the B-side.
Right.
Right.
And it was
Dead
like...
Presidents was on the A.
And you can't even say the name.
Dead Presidents was on the A-side, it was on the B-side. And I remember working it at college radio and it took it #1. And it was because it had 2 songs on it. It was like Dead Presidents / Ain't No.
Well, in the music video for Dead Presidents, Biggie was in the music video.
Yeah, he was in the video
AZ?
for both of them.
Oh, both of them.
He was in the video for Ain't No and Dead
Oh,
Presidents.
okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but he was also in the video for
Yeah,
Dead Presidents.
yeah.
AZ was in it
AZ
also.
was in it and Smooth the Hustler, yeah.
Smooth the Hustler. Oh, shit.
Right.
That's the name I haven't heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Where he at?
Now,
Before Jay-Z and Nas were exchanging diss records, there was reportedly supposed to be a record that could have changed their entire relationship.
there was a rumor that Nas was supposed to come to a recording session for the song Bring It On, but didn't show up.
That's somewhat true. AZ was supposed to come and didn't show up. Nas never really gave a date. He never confirmed anything. Like, they was supposed to be a record with Nas, Jay, and AZ over a Premier beat.
Aha.
And Nas, we was trying to track it down, but it didn't happen. And then, but AZ was supposed to come, I remember, because that's when I kind of started working, and it was like, and I remember him just saying, "I'll wait for my furniture. I'll wait for my furniture." And he kept, you know what I mean? He just never came to that day. And then I remember Jay just being like, "Yo, I'm just gonna do it with Jaz and Sauce. I ain't gonna be waiting."
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't technically Bring It On. It was like whatever record they would have done.
Okay.
But it was that premiere record turned into Bring It On.
I mean, was that the start of the beef?
I think it was the start of, I think it wasn't the start of the friendship. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To where I don't know if it really.
Yeah. That's probably where yeah, some that's what Jigga started not liking him. He stood him up. You can't like a nigga that stands you up.
The beef, but I know it didn't create like a bond where it was like, okay,
yeah,
you know, because I
with
think
this dude. Yeah, he was.
it kind
it's
of
like I'm chasing after this guy to do something he said he would do, and he's not doing it. So that creates a certain level.
But
of
when they seen each other after that, it was still cool. It wasn't like a thing. Like I remember them
side eye, we call that,
on the AZ video and being in the video and stuff, and you know, and them seeing each other at places, and it wasn't like a actual beef, really. The beef just started when Jay just threw his name out there.